Hello and welcome back. This is Ibrahim Qureshi here, and we are continuing on the Veeam backup and replication product. Basically, we configured the product, we installed it on a Windows 2019 machine, and then we configured a vCenter server. And in the previous session, we did a backup. If you haven't checked those sessions, be sure to check it out in the playlist. And today, what we are going to do is I'm going to show you how to recover or restore the VM which we have done a backup. So I have done a backup of this Nagios Core machine. It took around about 4 minutes duration and it was around about 4.8 gig. That's what it has read. The data transfer rate was around about 34 Mbps processing rate, and this is all the details. Whenever you are taking a backup, it takes a snapshot on the virtual machine, and then obviously once the backup is done, it deletes that snapshot. Also keep an eye on the snapshot. Sometimes they do get left behind if the backup tool doesn't cleanly delete these snapshots. Okay, so um, for let's get started on our session, and we will do a restore on this particular Nagios Core machine. Now, before you do that, you need to check your vCenter server. So on the vCenter server, this machine is named as Nagios Core 01. When you're restoring a virtual machine, always the main version, the primary virtual machine or the main original copy of the machine will also have the same details to a point where it has the same IP address, it has the same name. Yeah. So what you have to do is you need to make sure you shut down your uh, virtual machine, original virtual machine first, rename it to something, call it underscore old or something. Let's do that. So I'm going to rename this and call it underscore old, and I'm going to power this off. Now before I power this off, I want to show you what is it doing. So is this one. So let's log in. So it says that it has 4 unhandled problems. If we click on those, it will show some of the unhandled problems. Other than that, obviously you can click on host group and see that everything is healthy. The Windows DC jump server is healthy, my gateway router, and then the main thing, the virtual lab, is healthy. Yeah. Also you can click on server groups and see what servers we are having. So no, that's not a good idea. Okay, so that's all the stuff which we are monitoring for the purpose of this demo. I just wanted to show you that this is basically running on 10.10.10.10. Okay, so that's the IP we have assigned it. So I'm going to shut it down. Go to summary. I'm going to open the console. Could SSH and do that, but let's quickly do from the console. Open 3 times. So root, and then I will say let's say that is enough. So just going to halt it in a minute. While this is going to shut down, what we are going to do is we are going to restore this virtual machine. It's running on ESX3. We will try and restore it on ESX2, and see how it goes. Let's go back here. Have you started? No, yeah, not yet. So it has got quite a few VMs here, but it should be okay to restore it. We should be okay to restore it on this one. There you go. It has been done. It has shut it down. Let's go and check, and it's shut down. Okay, so the original VM has been shut down, and we have renamed it. So that's two things. Let's minimize this. Let's get back in here. So we are going to select instant recovery or restore entire VM. These are the options. Instant recovery is going to mount a NFS here on the VMware infrastructure, and then it's going to do it using that NFS here. I'm going to do that is very useful when you have a infrastructure catastrophic failure and you want to get something running as soon as possible to avoid any issues. So that's how you would do that. But for now, let's say restore entire VM. Restore virtual disk is also there. Restore file from the disk is also there. But we are going to do the restore of entire VM. Select that. That's our VM we want to restore. There are points. So for us, we only have one point, and that is today's. If you do have multiple backups, then you can see you will have multiple points, and you can select which one you want to go for. You can go 3 days back, you can go 1 week back. So that's where you will select which point you want to restore. So this one basically only has one. If you check here, less than a day ago, and it was 12/19. Click next. Restore the original location or restore to a new location with a different settings. Let's select that. As soon as you select that, it will give you host, resource, data store, folder, network. So you need to walk through all this. If you do want to restore it in the same location, then it will basically just replace the original copy with this one. But we don't want to replace the original copy. It's always better to have a restore on a different location, so we still have the original copy if we need it. So we will select the ESX host, select, and then change the host to a different one as I suggested earlier. Let's put it on the second host. It has NVMe, so it should be able to do a quick restore. It's going to be the same name, and it's going to go to the same pool. That's the hard drive, same source format, just fine. We can select data store and then select the local data store here, which will be a lot quicker. And then we can select this one, NVMe. It has 300 GB, which is good. Click OK, click next. Folder is fine, network is fine. Reason for restore, test, restore of Nagios 4. Okay, and that's what we are doing. We are basically original name we are putting it on, and we are not renaming it. We are putting it on a different host and a different store, data store. And then you can select whether you want to power it on after it's restored. Let's do that, so we know that when it is powered on, that it's actually restored as well. And actually I don't want to power it on because I want to show you some issue which you can encounter, and if the issue is there, you'll see it. If it's not, then I'll give you an explanation what it could happen with the network port. It's called a conflicting port which may arise. So that's it, finish. We are starting a restore, and you can see it's running here. So it's going to calculate everything. That's the details which we have put in. And hopefully it should be a quick one as well. So we can go and monitor from the vCenter. Renaming was done previously, but it has not started anything yet. We'll start to see some tasks coming up at the bottom here. There you go. Registering a virtual machine, renaming virtual machine. Yep, it started, and you can see the backup, configuring virtual machine. There you go, and that's the new virtual machine come up here, and you can see reloading virtual machine. So yeah, you can see all jobs getting created to restore our Nagios virtual machine. So let me quickly go to here, and you can see the job is still running. Starting restore job, restoring default repository, restoring the VM on here, this folder, restoring the hard disk. Now it's a 100 gig hard disk, but it only has around about 4 gig of data, so that's what it's going to copy now. So that's a log which you can keep an eye on, and you can see the overall progress. Restore started. I'm going to go on mute for a moment. So guys, I'm unsure whether it is trying to restore the entire 100 gig. I would have thought that it will only do thin provisioning because the original disk was like that. But if it is doing thick provisioning, which is something you need to be careful about. I did have 300 GB on this data store, so I still have enough capacity, I guess. So you can see it's 300 GB. So let's quickly click on that and go to summary. What we do not want to end up is obviously try to restore a VM which is large in size on a smaller disk data store which doesn't have enough capacity. So okay, it's using only 101 gig, so it's still restoring a small like thin provision disk, but it's saying in general, it's saying that it's doing a full 100 gig restore. Okay, so that's done by the looks of it. There you go. 100 GB, 4.8 gig data restored. There you go, 100 GB, but it is restored. And it took 1 minute 46 seconds. Progress is still running. Interesting. Yeah, it's still there. 2 of 5. 6183 left. So time remaining is gone to 0, so that means it's done pretty much. Let's wait here and see what it does after it does all the remaining tasks. So restore rate was 671 MB, so that's quite good. Still in progress. It's there, it's restoring it here, isn't it? And you can see this usage 4.78 GB has been restored, 100 gig rest. So quickly see whether we can, yeah, I think it is restored. It's removing snapshot, reverting snapshots, so it's doing all the jobs you expect it to do. Sometimes in the network you get a conflicting port when you restore a VM, because the original port, if the original VM was connected to 8009 port virtual port group, then it will say that it is basically having a conflicting port because 809 is assigned to something else, and that's how you can see that it is having an issue there. The fix is quite simple. You need to change the network port group to a different one, browse and attach it to a different one, click OK, and then put it back on the original one again. So I don't have another one here, but obviously you will need to have multiple port groups to be able to fix that. Standard port group doesn't matter, distributed or standard, but that is the fix recommended from VMware. So let's cancel this. Let's quickly jump in again to the Veeam server. And I'm going to try and start this virtual machine now. If it starts, that means it's successfully restored. Yeah, it's powering on. Launch web console. Those are the old ones. Okay, it has booted successfully. Root VMware. Let's log in. Okay, let's check the IP address. It has picked up a new IP, so it has not actually got the same IP which it was assigned to. So it's 203. I was hoping that it would restore on the same IP. So this was where it was running 10.10.10.10. Now it's 203. So if I go 10.10.10.203 slash Nagios, yeah, I am getting there. Let's see whether we are able to access all the data which is there. So when it is obviously booting, it will take some time to contact all the host and check whether everything is running. So FreeNAS is still pulling data from there. The DC server, it's still pulling data, staying on critical. Explorer is critical. So yeah, it's doing its job. Excellent. So I think we have restored this successfully, as you can see. And this basically accessing the data again. It is jumped up on a different IP because I think it was configured for dynamic maybe, and I didn't set it to static, but you can see that it is pulling data and it is having critical warnings on some of these. This one is Explorer warning, I think. What is this warning? Let's see. Yeah, Windows DC uptime. So okay, it's just uptime warning. Logged into the DC as well. Let's see whether I can fix this critical alert. Explorer. So let's launch an Explorer, and usually launching an Explorer fixes that alert. Yeah, yes, we have launched it. Okay, let's go back and see whether we are getting that alert for Explorer. It's gone. It's only having this warning now. No, it's still there. We need to wait and see whether it's fixed. Jump server is also having warning. Okay, yes, D space warning. It's unable to pull the data, so it will basically start pulling the data. It may take some time to settle down because we just powered it on, and sometimes usually when you power on a monitoring tool, you always see all sorts of alerts coming in through, and then you need to let it settle down. Okay, so that's about it, guys. So that's successfully restored. You will see this running up until you basically migrate. So you can see this is running, and yeah, that's full restore failed, it said. Why did it say it failed? But obviously we have successfully restored it. So it's a little bit of, maybe I powered it on and that's why it didn't manage to finish the last task which it needed to do, and it said that it has failed. Restore job failed, waiting for operation timeout. Okay, but yeah, definitely it has not failed. I should have left a little bit longer. There were like 2 tasks remaining. I powered it on, maybe because I powered it on it couldn't finish those jobs, but don't be hasty next time, I guess. Lessons learned for me, and then wait for it to completely finish and then power it on after the wizard says that it's successfully done. It took 12 minutes. I think I didn't wait till 12 minutes. I powered it on just after 10 minutes, or just after 8 minutes. I can't remember now. Anyway, so that's how you can successfully recover it. We have successfully restored this VM without any issues. The only thing, IP was different, but that's something which you can rectify, because I think for me it was set on DSCP, and that's why it has gone to a different one. Okay, that's all for today, folks. So hope you like this series on Veeam backup and restore. If you have any questions, just comment on below and let me know. Enjoy watching and keep sharing. Cheers, bye.